Well, hello again. This is Joe from HomeStudioCorner.com. More PreSonus Studio One tutorials for you. I want to talk about grouping tracks. I mentioned this in a previous video. This one deserves its own video in case you are searching for this precise thing. Grouping of tracks is really helpful. I use it mostly for two things. If I want to adjust the level of all the tracks, move the faders up and down relative to one another, or if I want to do some editing of all the tracks at once. A great example of this is drums. So if I want to take all these drums and just turn them down, one quick way to do that is to just select them all and then grab a fader and move it. You literally don't even have to group them. You can just click and drag. It's like a temporary group. So that's something to keep in mind. You can do that with solo, mutes, everything else. Hit S, they're all not soloed, all soloed, muted, all that fun stuff. So I don't need grouping for that at all. It's kind of a temporary group of just the things you select. Kick, out, snare, bottom, and room. They're all soloed together. Isn't that nice? Yes, it is. But let's say you want to group them on a more permanent basis. One way you can do that is by simply selecting them all, right-click, you can see what your options are, and you can group them. So Command G will group these together. Boom, they're grouped. One way to tell that they're grouped is to look over here in the inspector window, and you can see they are all in group 1. You can rename that if you want. I never bother because I usually don't use these groups like this. So now if I click on this, on any one of these regions inside this grouping of tracks, I can then do things like cut them up, move them around together, all that stuff, right? Easy to do. You need to have grouping, especially when you're doing editing and pocketing and things like that. But what if you want to dissolve this group? Now you want to go in and adjust just the snare drum. Well, you click on it and it's not letting you do anything. You grab the fader, everybody's moving together. That's a little annoying. How do you dissolve the group? We can come over here and do none, and that dissolves the group for that one track, but that gets super confusing really quickly, so you don't really want to do that. Well, you can hit Shift Command G to dissolve the group entirely, and then the group disappears forever, and you're done. So maybe that makes sense. Maybe you don't ever want that group to be back again, so that's one option as well. I prefer option number 3, which is this. If I know I want to group things together for editing purposes, I'll select them all. I will right-click on one of them and hit Pack Folder. So it packs them into a folder. Nothing's changed on the tracks at all. They're all still exactly the same, routed exactly the same. I can even name the folder now. Whoops, hang on. That wasn't what I meant to do. I hit a button I didn't mean to hit. Don't you hate it when that happens? Let's try it again. Pack folder. Click on the folder to show them again. You don't want to hide them forever. We can rename this drums. And like I've shown before, we can even create a bus from here if we want, but I'm not going to do that right now. Now, look what happens. We've got this cute little group button. Guess what that does? It groups the tracks within this folder. So I can do this, I can chop them up, yeah, nice and choppy, move them around, do everything I want to do, and to turn the group off, I just click right here, and now look, I can select individual pieces of the track, I can turn them up and down without affecting the rest of the group. Realize you got to do something else, group again, click on one of them, now we're back in group mode, and we can go back and forth without having to dissolve that group. Once I discovered this, initially I was kind of peeved that there wasn't an easy way to do groups like there was in Pro Tools. Now I see it's actually really cool, and I like it a lot. Easy way to group and ungroup. So let me undo all these edits before I mess up my whole drum track. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, great. So that's how to do grouping inside Studio One. Gave you lots of options. Figure out which one works best for you, and go have fun.